Good evening. Welcome to Tomorrow Matters, a channel that focuses on technology and futurology looked at through the lens of environmentalism, philosophy, and rational thought. Here we explore emerging technologies, existential questions, and challenges to our planet and the beings who live on it. Today we are going to cover several ideas that I think are fundamental for tackling the issues of today and tomorrow, primarily exploring the idea of philosophy applied to belief systems and our understanding of the world. Philosophy is one of the main three focuses on this channel, besides futurology and the environment. I believe that it is one of the most important topics to read and understand, because most, if not every idea or discussion has a philosophical base. Understanding why one believes an idea to be true and how one acquired that idea is crucial to the action or belief they want to adopt in their lives. But before I go any further into this topic, I want to talk about science, what it has accomplished, and clear some of its misconceptions. This will help us understand why a solid philosophical base shares many of the same principles of science, even if they are separate things. I hope you enjoy the video, and please share it and support the channel if you did. As far as our understanding of the world goes, science offers the best possible tools to unravel the mysteries of physical reality. The early version of the modern scientific method was developed by scientists and philosophers such as John Locke, David Hume, and Francis Bacon. They focus on what is knowledge and how we as humans obtain it. During the Enlightenment, these ideas were further developed, leading into technological advancements that started shaping the world into what it is today. These ideas tie into philosophy in the form of epistemology, which is conformed by empiricism, rationality, and skepticism. It is the study of how we understand the world through observation, using tools and methods to piece together our picture of what we know is real. This in turn shapes our belief systems and ideas of how to live our best life, something we will discuss in a minute. A common notion of science is that it is only a series of facts that are repeated in classrooms for students to memorize. However, science is much more than that. It is a way of thinking, a lens through which people ask questions, look for evidence to support their hypotheses, challenging their own assumptions. This goes beyond describing physical phenomena. It is a way to verify claims that people make, which comes useful in political discussions and knowing who is trustworthy and a good source of information. In her 2021 TED Talk, Isabel Kingsley, a scientist and former teacher, brilliantly explains this idea. She describes how science is something every person is capable of doing, even in everyday situations. It is a way to explain how and why people think, regardless of a person's ideological or cultural leanings. This in turn makes us better people and better cooperators. In her own words,
understanding how science is done makes you a better critical thinker. Because if you understand the process, then you know that there's always a degree of uncertainty and a degree of truth. Imagine if we all, not just career scientists, but all, understood the process of how we know what we know about the world around us. We would all be much better judges of good, bad, and outright misleading science information. Basically, we'd all be much better at spotting the bull, and trusting the science that matters and affects us all.
there are several areas where science is misunderstood by both traditionalists and postmodernists. Some believe science to be fallible because it has supposedly been wrong in the past. For example, we used to believe that Newtonian mechanics were the end of physics until Einstein discovered relativity, or how unethical practices like lobotomy were once the norm in fields of psychology and medicine. This is a fallacious way of thinking that misses the point of what scientists try to achieve. It is a good thing that we proved previous scientists and theories wrong. An empirical way of thinking is always open to reforming, or even discarding previous ideas, as long as there is strong evidence to back them up. Scientifically proving wrong a belief that was commonly accepted in the past doesn't mean it was correct at any point in time. The fact that people believed the Earth was flat in the past doesn't mean that at any point in time the Earth was actually flat. The only thing that changed was our understanding of what we observed. In the words of Carl Sagan, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And sometimes in history, extraordinary claims turn out to be true, proven by the scientific rigor and hard work of those who claim them. Even in the last century, many scientists keep proposing seemingly crazy ideas that turn out to be true, such as the continental drift theory. The point is that science is a powerful tool that sometimes comes to big conclusions. The only difference between the claims of scientific endeavors and superstition is that one is backed up by strong evidence, while the other is backed up by social forces. Now I'll go into why philosophy is important in debates where science and ideology clash. There are ideas and theories where both science and reason can reach. These might be less evidence-based fields of study, such as metaphysics and ethics. In these topics, different points of view are equally valid, but empiricism is difficult to apply. These areas of the human experience are a major reason why people turn to ideology and socially backed belief systems for answers. If science can't cover these questions, then is it really that all-encompassing as rationalists think it is? This is where I think philosophy is the best tool that explains the metaphysical plane the same way empirical science explains the physical one. Philosophy, briefly explained, is the pondering of fundamental questions about the world. It intends to explore what gives meaning to our experiences, if there is one. It is a way to help us understand our existence and why we take some actions instead of others. It ties into pretty much every single topic related to the human experience, such as psychology, politics, and even science itself. Philosophy should be an important focus for anyone who is active in social and political causes, such as the fight for human or animal rights, the pursuit of justice, or any topic that gives value and importance to the individual or group experience. As an example, we will analyze what history is. History, as a subject of study, is the analysis of the past in order to seek knowledge about the world. When studying history, we start by identifying factual events of what happened. The Second World War was fought between the Axis and Allied powers. It led to over 70 million direct deaths, with much more indirect ones. It was fought primarily in Europe and led to many subsequent conflicts all over the world. In this scenario, there are several facts that encompass this story, specific things that took place and involve physical locations, people, battles, and events. But these facts also come hand in hand with the philosophical implications of the conflict. Why did these things happen? What ideological forces pushed certain aspects of the war to materialize? What were the precursor forces forming over decades that led to the war? What about the political and ideological climates? There are factual events that tell a story behind them, but the way we interpret them varies from the group of people who retell them. The way Germany, the United States, the USSR, or Japan interpreted the war was vastly different from each other. Here, philosophy plays the role of unraveling why each nation decided to take the actions they did. Philosophy aims to ask questions of why. It applies to everything, from ethics, existentialism, and art. It explains the reason why every person wakes up every morning to do what they do. It shows us what social causes matter, which laws should be passed, what ideas are valuable in our society, and which ones are harmful or obsolete. And it is also a way to anticipate the challenges of tomorrow. Today, we see the negative effects of conspiracy theories, dogma, and superstition. This materializes in, among many examples, climate change denial, education based on false beliefs of what is real, and the creation of cults and pseudoscientific practices that put people in real danger. Ideas that hold back social and scientific progress by denying factual evidence and imposing their dogmatic worldview on new generations have a real effect on how our societies and systems operate. These ideas are kept alive by institutional and cultural forces that prioritize tribalism over self-questioning, who deflect criticism by grouping any idea who points out their inconsistencies into an external fabricated enemy. There's a difference between a dogmatic and a rational worldview. While the former claims to offer all the answers, the latter is constantly questioning itself, striving to reach the truth but never really achieving it, instead aiming to becoming better at exploring fundamental questions about the universe. Empirical and rational thinking has no dogma, no unquestionable tenets, no ideology, aside from providing the best possible understanding of the universe through observation, evidence, and proving or disproving hypotheses. There is no simple solution for making people adopt critical thinking, but the best way I can think of is through quality, unbiased, and ideologically neutral education, where students are taught from a young age to ask questions without fear, be curious, and challenge their own preconceived beliefs. To have a solid understanding of both science and philosophy is important, because over the next century, humanity is going to face problems that will put into question everything we know about our own existence. Children today are being born in a world where the internet dominates every part of our lives. Tomorrow, we might have to face questions about altering our own bodies in order to keep up with the rest of the workforce. We might even have to ask questions about the ethics of destroying the environment to fuel our never-ending growth. It seems like every few years there's a new paradigm shift that throws us into disarray. The world is moving at an incredible speed that was never before seen in history, and it is already starting to have significant effects in the way people live their lives. To be prepared for these new challenges, an ideologically neutral, evidence-based worldview offers the best set of tools to solve problems such as economic inequality caused by tech and AI disruption, health crisis in developing countries, pandemics, climate change, among any other challenges. There is something common in all these problems. It is that they all require human cooperation to solve. Dogmatic tribalism, based on fixed sets of ideas, can set back this cooperation. Even though the world is a complex place, a rational, ethical, and logically consistent set of ideas can help us educate future generations to lead the world into a more equal, sustainable future that makes sense for everybody. Before I finish, I want to wrap up with a quote from Bertrand Russell, one of the greatest philosophers who was also a champion of rationality and critical thought. Fear is the main source of superstition, and one of the main sources of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell for future notifications. I'm going to be talking a lot about philosophy and rationality, among other topics like environmentalism, philosophy, science, technology news, and all that kind of stuff. I also want to cover deep topics that go into the philosophy of AI, among other things that I really enjoy talking about, and I think it more important for people to think about and explore these ideas, because this is something that's going to affect everybody in the future, and yeah, I think it's a really great way to be in touch with everything that's going on in the future and in the tech world. So that would be everything. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, everybody. See you later.